Airtime. Mark, 15 seconds until airtime.
Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
These are good problems to have, right?
Very.
So much success that you have more than one place to be.
Fly break, touchdown, Oregon.
Off a dribble, launches, and hits the three. Oregon leads.
What a great opportunity it is to be able to play at the University of Oregon.
I'm just incredibly proud to be a part of something like this.
She wants another three. Oh, three in a row.
Oregon is headed to the Super Regional. Big Ten champions, your Oregon Ducks.
We are so privileged and so fortunate. We get to see all these young people. We get to see this incredible growth, which is what college is all about.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Man, what a weekend to be a Ducks fan, huh? Insanely busy and plenty of content on this show. Thanks for tuning in. Duck Insider on a Friday here in our Country Financial Studio. I'm Chris Clayton. Wow, the Ducks, baseball, softball, basketball, acro and tumbling, track and field, tennis. We'll go through it all. There's a lot going on. Lacrosse as well. So this is big. We'll just start here. It's Oregon baseball game day. That's exciting. What an opportunity for the Ducks to get off on the right foot. Big expectations this year for Oregon. They are the preseason favorites to win the Big Ten, and they start with Toledo. Again, you see it there, 3:05. If you're watching this, 3:05 p.m. is the first pitch time. The pregame show with Ryan Milano and Joey Mack on the call will be at 2:45 p.m. Now, let me just run through the schedule here quickly of everything that's going on right now. Oregon softball playing right now in Tempe, Arizona. Big win over the University of North Dakota. Earlier, 9-0. They're up 5-1 over Weber State at this very moment, trying to improve to 7-1. They play tomorrow against Utah Valley and Grand Canyon, and then against Belmont on Sunday. Women's basketball is in action Sunday at noon at Minnesota on the road. Men's basketball here, 4 p.m. against Rutgers. Oregon track and field is competing in 4 states this weekend. They're in Massachusetts, New Mexico, Arkansas, Texas, all over the country. Ducks women's tennis is competing right now against Arizona State. That one is at 1-1. The Ducks got a point through the doubles events, and Arizona State has taken 1 in singles so far. Men's tennis playing today against New Mexico at 5, and then Sunday twice against Louisiana and Eastern Illinois. Tomorrow, women's golf is in Long Beach, California. Women's lacrosse plays tomorrow at noon at Pape Field against Columbia. Acrobatics and tumbling is hosting Morgan State at MKA at 4 p.m. Pack show for you today. We're going to hear from Oregon baseball head coach Mark Wasikowski. We'll have Grayson Grensel, who's pitching today against Toledo on the program. Acro and tumbling head coach Taylor Susnara. Josh Jamieson, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach as well. So lots to watch and enjoy this weekend, and a lot to go over on the program. So let's go now to Mark Wasikowski, Oregon baseball head coach. He spoke to the media earlier this week about the opener with the Toledo Rockets.
What are your thoughts on Toledo here going into this series?
Old lineup, old team. It's a group that has a lot of returning pitching, a lot of left-handed guys. First 2 guys up front are going to be left-handed. Their closer from last year, most reliable arm's going to throw in game 1. Their top three of their top 4 returning hitters are all left-handed. So probably common theme, age, because they're old, and more left-handed pitching and more left-handed hittings for the veteran guys from them than anything else.
You guys released the starters this weekend. Just kind of what went into that decision, I guess specifically what went into Colin Clark being the game 1 on Saturday starter?
Full body of work, what the guys are doing, whether it's combination of what they're doing this year and in the past, it's just a full body of work, and the guys that have earned it are on the starting rotation.
You guys going to have some sort of pitch count since it's early here in the year?
Of course.
Is there a number there, or is it just kind of see how it goes?
Go into that.
No?
No.
We've seen Grayson and Clark obviously last year. What can you kind of tell us about the other 2 guys starting for you this weekend?
Well, Jason Wrights is a real real pro prospect. Depending on how he develops and the confidence that he gets, he's got the upside to be a day one draft. It's that good. So he's really got a chance to be fantastic. The other young guy is a freshman, Will Sanford. Sunday, he's going to roll out there on game 4, sneak him through the draft and get him to campus. And so, he's earned it too. He's pitched really well, and I think you'll see how good he can be.
A lot of people probably assumed Grinny might be starting Friday, but you made it clear guys had to earn roles in the preseason. What does it say about the mentality he took leading up to this opening series to earn that job and earn that trust from you guys?
Full body of work on Grayson. The way he ended the year last year, really good in the regional versus Santa Barbara, petered out the super versus Texas A&M. Junior arm. His full body of work has been pretty spectacular here at Oregon. And so, with that considered, he gets the ball on game 1, he gets the nod. And, after week 1, it's really going to be an earn it type thing. How do things settle for week 2, 3, 4, the whole thing. We get this we get the beginning of the season, the first 3 weeks, and the off season that we just got done with to be able to determine who's going to be pitching moving forward. So we use that information now in weeks 2 and beyond after that.
What kind of goes into lineup construction here over the next 2 days before you guys start playing on Friday?
There's still some spots that are undetermined. There's a lot of ability out there, a lot of talent. And so, just who puts together, who wins the jobs, really. There's some really tight battles right now. And so even if a guy doesn't end up starting in game 1, he could be starting on game 2 and beyond. There's a lot of good players out there.
What are kind of the positions that are up for grabs right now?
I don't know. The ones, it's kind of like what's not up for grabs. There's good players out, in each one of those spots. And so, and it's just not like, in years past, we've probably had a separation of 8 guys or 9 guys that separate from the pack. This year there's just a lot of really good players that, I don't know. I can't answer that question. Who's going to start on day 1?
In your years of being in college baseball, how do you take in the first series, whether it's really good or really bad, as a foreshadowing for the rest of the season?
Don't know. Never really had a really bad deal. I don't think too much on opening weekend. I at least I blocked those out if that's happened. It's a long season. You really want to just go day by day. And so our focus really isn't even on the weekend yet. We still have a couple of prep days to go before we even get there. And so it's really just on today. Cliche-ish, but it's true.
What's kind of the unique challenge in baseball specifically where when the bullpen's been an issue in the postseason for a couple of years, but you're playing a 50 and what you hope is a 60-plus game season, you can't only focus on addressing one area. So what is the challenge in trying to address something that's clearly been a weakness at times, but you still have to construct the whole roster and get a new rotation, get a new lineup, some of these things but you don't want to leave that as an Achilles heel when you get there.
A lot goes into that. The construction of a roster is to try to have a complete roster. By the end of the season, how many able bodies or arms or whatever do you have to be able to pitch in postseason games varies by the weekend. And we saw that last year where we didn't even have 3 of our active players weren't even in a position to be able to throw. And it wasn't even because of arm injury, it was because of illness. And so that really can hamstring you at the wrong time of year, which we saw a year ago. Our bullpen's been a strength of ours since we've been here. And it's something that I continually think that will be a strength moving forward, even into this year. Our initial thoughts, though, with roster creation is real simple. Have a complete roster where we don't have any gaps in there. We're going to have a balance of, it isn't like we're going to put more eggs in one basket and then be weak somewhere else. You got to be complete. You got to stay healthy for you to make a run on this thing all the way through the end of the College World Series. And so we've been able to accomplish a lot of objectives here, and we're hoping to take more steps forward this year.
What do you feel about the pitching depth heading into this season?
So far, it looks like it's improved, and we haven't started yet. So it looks like it's improved, and our position players look like they've even improved.
You guys feel like you have a complete roster?
Getting closer. By the day, I say yes, but still yet. A complete roster means every man's healthy and every man's legit. And so I think we're getting closer to that point in time. I think right now we have every man that has the potential to be legit. And it's improved, and it's improved from previous years for sure.
You guys mentioned going against two left-handed pitchers to start against Toledo. Are you in favor of kind of platoon matchups here? We're starting more righties and lefties. You guys are kind of lefty heavy at points.
You have to come to the games. Happy Valentine's Day.
With how well Anson played the outfield last year in the Super Regional, do you kind of expect him to be rehomed out there full time playing the outfield, or is he still going to give you reps behind the dish?
It's a good question. He's, he's in there to be a starter at catcher as well. He's just a really good player. He can start at catcher for us. He can start in center field. If you can start in center field, you can start in the other two spots in the outfield, and you can also start at first base. We saw him do that really well last year. So he's a valuable guy. He's played really well, and it's going to be fun watching Anson this year.
Chase obviously had such a breakout year with the bat last year, carried it through to the Cape. What's kind of been the biggest step you've seen him take over the summer coming into this year, and what's kind of your expectation of him?
Just strength, maturity. He's a team leader, and he's got a real chip on his shoulder.
Ducks baseball head coach Mark Wasikowski talking to the media, and he said it, you got to come to the game. Happy Valentine's Day. You have an opportunity to do so if you have a free afternoon here. I know it's a little cold, but hey, it should be a great game at PK Park. And Grayson Grinsell expected to be pitching today for the Ducks, and he spoke to the media this week as well.
There's probably a lot of people that have assumed since last May that you might be the Friday guy this weekend. Waz made it clear guys have to earn jobs. How would you describe the mentality you took to try to earn that right, and what it was like to hear you were going to be the guy getting the ball?
I tried to take it just like every other year. Roles aren't set until opening day, so just try to take that mentality into every day, regardless of what everyone was telling me or what I might have heard that, hey, you should be the Friday guy. I just tried to go into with the mentality that I'm trying to earn a spot just like everyone else, and trying to go out there and compete and get better every day with every other guy there, all of my guys.
What do you feel like those emotions are going to be like stepping on the mound there on Friday?
I think it'll be fun. New season, third year here, kind of got to understand what it's going to be like. So, but you still can't replicate the adrenaline you get every time stepping on the mound. So I think it'll be a good game.
What were kind of like the off-season goals for you, and how do you feel like those you've implemented those going into the year?
Just tried to get bigger and stronger, just like every other off-season. Talked to Hawk, worked a little bit on kind of pitch shapes and kind of just mechanical stuff that I've been working on with him every day in the bullpen and every day in catch play. So just really excited to get out there and get on with my guys.
Is there a guy or two that's really stuck out to you in these early spring practices and last fall?
Most of the freshmen. Will Sanford obviously starting on Sunday. It'll be a big day for the freshmen. Coming in, starting on Sunday, it's always fun. Gabe Howard, Nate Chrisman. We got a bunch of Michael Mechna. All the freshmen really have all done a good job, and it'll be fun to see how they go out there and compete on this weekend.
What kind of seen from Sanford?
What haven't you seen? He got a great fastball, good secondary, good change. He's got everything you could want out of a starter, so it'll be fun to see him pitch on Sunday.
As someone that did see the field as a freshman, are there things that you see from him that kind of remind you of yourself when you were a freshman?
He's definitely a calmer individual like myself. He kind of goes out there and just kind of goes about his work, never really looks like the moment's too big for him, which is good. That's what you need to have. He's got a maturity about him that most freshmen don't have, so it'll be fun to see.
What do you see going against this lineup in intra-squads? How does that help you?
It's a pretty good lineup. We got, really every guy in both sides could start. You had two lineups that, really if you wanted to pick and choose whoever you wanted to, that could be a starting lineup, and that's kind of brought both sides better. It's made the pitchers definitely a lot better, seeing a lot of competitive bats and a lot of competitive at-bats out of the older guys and younger guys. A lot of potential, and it should be a fun year for the hitters.
2 straight seasons with 2 straight super regional appearances. What about this team kind of has the juice to get you back to that spot and maybe push you over the hill to Omaha?
We got guys from last year and the year before that understand what it takes to get to the level, and then we have new guys that are helping us to build off of what we've built with those past 2 years, and we know what it takes, and we've brought the talent this year, I think, to go with that and take it even a step further and end up in Omaha, and that's the goal.
You've seen from the depth of the staff this year, and maybe what's unique about this pitching group this year compared to past seasons?
I think we have a lot more depth. We got a lot more guys that have the opportunity to get a lot of innings and a lot of big moments as well. I mean, we got younger guys who have just the amount of talent that the older guys do to be able to go in there and step up in a big way. And I can't wait to see who does it this year.
Other than a bunch of zeros in your line score on Friday, what do you'll feel like it was a success beyond a team win and zeros? What will you feel a success is at the end of Friday night for you? What will that look like?
I mean, really just kind of going out there and get to compete. I mean, Waz always says we're competing against the game. It's just another team on the other side of the dugout that we're playing against, but we're playing against the game. And I think if we go out there and do what our goal is, and that's to compete and work the process with our guys, and I think if we go out there and do that, it'll be a successful day.
If you could take one pitch from one of your teammates' arsenals and add it to yours, whose would you take?
Ooh, probably have to be. Let me think. We got a lot of them. There's a lot of guys out there. Probably Toby Twist Slider, another lefty. I mean, did great last year. Unfortunately, went down, but yeah, I mean, he's got a gross slider.
How do you try to convey the message to freshmen or the transfer portal additions about what it takes to get to Omaha? How do you convey that to them?
Really about what Waz and the coaching staff and we all talk about. It's working the process. I mean, there's a reason we've been to 2 super regionals the past 2 years and why we were 2 outs away, and then last year obviously making it. We're close, and now we have the talent to do it, but they got to be able to work the process just like every other day, and when they do that, we'll be successful.
Grayson Grinzel, he's pitching today at PK Park. The Ducks baseball team with the season opener at 3 p.m. against Toledo. Duck Insider continues next. We hear from Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach Taylor Susnara. She's out down with Joey Mack. That's next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, it's time now to hear from Acro and Tumbling. They're in action as we look at their schedule. This week's women's sports schedule spotlight brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. It's the opener for Acro and Tumbling. They've got Morgan State at Matthew Knight Arena at 4 p.m. tomorrow. Head coach Taylor Susnara sat down with Joey Mack in studio.
So many sports getting underway, including Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling this weekend. Head coach Taylor Susnara is here. Hey, we were just discussing during the break that we have a fabulous jersey that is always hanging here in the studio. It's always right behind, and I just have to tell you honestly, okay? I didn't tell Taylor this off the air, so on the air. I did not request a specific number.
Okay.
That was not me. I can take zero responsibility for this. But the equipment room just said, 20 seems to look good. 20's a good one.
It's a great number.
Great number. Is it your favorite number?
Yes, it is.
Yes. Was it your favorite number before college?
Favorite number before college was the number 8.
Oh.
But then it became 20, and it's remained 20. Yeah.
Yeah. Oregon alumni Taylor Susnara joining us. Whenever I get a chance to ask you this, I always think it's got to be pretty rewarding. You're coaching at your alma mater. Does that ever wear off?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of a dream. You walk in, even if it's icy, if it's cold, it doesn't matter. I walk in, I'm like, Oregon.
That's cool.
It's amazing.
That's really cool. If I went back and told 17-year-old Taylor that this is what you'd be doing on this day, what would 17-year-old Taylor have said?
I think she would say, "Are you sure?"
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, I'm sure. Yes, I am sure. Season opening up. But tell us about the off season. Just take us through what the program has been working on. What have you been working towards with the new season coming up?
Yeah. For fans that have listened, our theme or motto of our program has been power for the last few years, and while that's definitely still holding strong, our off-season game plan was to work really, really hard, and we set out from the very beginning that this year was going to be different, and that we were going to put our heads down and mentally just plug in each day that we were at practice, and they've done just that, and we've been able to work on some new skills and new elements that will be competing this season, and it's just really fun to see the culture kind of grow and evolve in this off season, and I think the fans are going to be excited to see.
Can you put into words just the amount of time, say like one skill that you work on in the off season that we then see in a meet? Put it into words for fans. Like, what's the process?
First, it's an idea.
Yeah.
And then it's submitting it to the scoring committee within the NCATA for approval and to see, what start value it's going to have, what value.
Right.
And then from there, once it's approved, then it's, okay, we're going to hone in and perfect this. But we have to kind of showcase that to the scoring committee prior. We can execute the skill,
right.
And then it's perfecting it from there.
So I think that's fascinating. Like, there's this whole process that goes into it. It's not just show up, do the routine, do the skill in front of everybody. It's, okay, well, here's what we think the difficulty of this is, right? I mean, how fun is that as a coach, and how fun is that as a student athlete to have in your sport? I mean, you're constantly seeing new things all the time, right?
Mm-hmm. It's so fun, and we have some new acrobatic gymnasts in our program, and we're continuing to recruit those types of athletes, and so their skill set is completely different than anything, than I've even done.
Sure.
And so it's really cool to have them come in and kind of say, Coach, like, what can we do? What can we brainstorm? And it kind of, you feel like a kid in a candy shop when you figure it out.
That's really cool. How much has the sport evolved since you've been following it? I mean, how many new skills are we seeing on a weekly basis, maybe?
I mean, it's grown so much. Each year, each season, there's new skills within our start value system, our code of points. And, it's always, for me at least, it's kind of okay, who's going to do what next?
Right,
what are we going to do next?
Right.
Okay, they just did that. What are we going to do? I think it provides a healthy competition and kind of a healthy growth mindset within the sport as a whole.
Sure.
So it's really fun.
How much have start values changed? I mean, like, you see it a few times. Oh, maybe it's easier now that we've seen it a few times. How much does that happen over the course of years, I guess?
I think start values for skills stay pretty consistent. There are committees every year that kind of reevaluate things that we've been doing.
Right.
Are schools competing this often, or is this, ancient, so to speak.
And it's like 2 years old,
yeah.
and it's ancient, right? I mean, I get it.
And just because our sport has evolved so much, now we're into acrobatic gymnastics, not just cheerleading, not just gymnastics. And so, start values, like I said, pretty consistent. The newer things that are coming through in the code of points are high scoring. We added a whole letter value to our system. So it used to go A to E, and now there's an F.
Okay.
And so it's really hard, and it's getting more difficult as each year goes by.
How much has the just exposure of the sport as a whole, like scout and even prepare? I mean, you're smiling as I'm asking this question, so I can imagine it's probably changed a lot as you see more out there, right?
Yes. I think we have to be more diligent. There's more to look at. There's more sports we're recruiting from. I talked to an acrobatic gymnastics coach yesterday, and picking her brain a little bit. What can we do better?
Interesting.
Who are we looking at? And it's fun. It's challenging. It's different. There's more schools, so more athletes have different options. It's not just those core 10 schools. So it's fun. It's hard, but it's fun.
Acrobatics and Tumbling, Taylor Susnara joining us. Okay, off season, also building a program out each year, right? About 25% roster turnover just based on graduation every year. So how'd the team come together? And maybe the question I'm curious about is, as the sport has continued to grow, there is more competition. I imagine there's more athletes around the country that know what the sport is and what the opportunity is. How much has it changed in the recruiting trail for you?
Yeah, I mean, in the recruiting trail, more people know about it. And so when we go to events, they've heard of acrobatics and tumbling. It's not as much a sales pitch on, hey, come do this for me.
Tell me more. Right?
Yeah. There's still a little bit of that, but it's really unique and fun to be able to say, oh, you have heard of it. Okay, so this is what Oregon has, and this is what, we can offer you. And it's fun, too, to get to teach them when they come in, because most of them still have never done it before.
Right. That's cool. The youth movement, I'd imagine, that's kind of the next step, right? I know as it continues to grow at the collegiate level, like when you have more youth involvement, right?
Yeah, we have actually one of the first ever youth acrobatics and tumbling programs here in Oregon now. Let's go. Westside Gymnastics Academy.
Cool.
And so their coach has kind of been reaching out, and we're creating that relationship a little bit, and our athletes are able to help them. So it's really cool to see the growth there, too.
That's awesome. All right, season is on the horizon. A lot of big picture questions there. Now tell us a little bit about your roster. Maybe start with some of your leaders. Who's setting the tone heading into the new season?
Sure. I think I say this every year. It's hard because they're all so talented and they're all so awesome. But two that are sticking out to me is Haley Ellis and Blessin McMorris. They both sadly tore their Achilles last season, same day.
Same day.
Same day. It was the craziest thing I've ever experienced as a coach. And you know what? They're both back this season, and they are absolutely killing it, both just from a leadership standpoint and also just the skill set that they're bringing to the table is really cool to see. And they have worked super hard. So I'm excited to have them back, and they're going to make their debut, so to speak, this Saturday.
Cool.
And then we have two really, really good freshmen, Angelica Martin and Cassidy Koo, who both come from an acrobatic gymnastics background, and they're doing some of the new skills that I won't give out today.
I like that. That's why you tune in for Morgan State at 4 o'clock on Saturday, or you head to Matthew Knight Arena for the opener on Saturday. And to give everyone a little bit of context there too on Blessin, Blessin was winning multiple awards, garnering a lot of accolades, and so you can imagine now the return. She's got to be excited. Both of them got to be excited to be back out there, right?
Totally. Yeah. And the comeback from that type of injury is not easy. It's not for the weak. And so there's been bumps and some tears along the way, even from me, just helping them out and telling them they're doing really good. And I'm just excited. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for the team, and it's a good group this year.
That's cool. Now, the way the schedule falls, Morgan State, Baylor. That's a big one. Oregon, Baylor, always the matchup to watch. That's on Saturday, February 22nd. Gannon also at Matthew Knight Arena in March. Mary Hardin Baylor is in Matthew Knight Arena in March. And then 3 on the road to end. But what I want to highlight, you've got 4 home meets this year, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah. We normally have 3, so this year we get to have 4, and that home crowd is something different and something special, so we're excited for it.
Yeah, but you have the early test, right?
Yep.
The opener is always going to have some butterflies, right?
Yep.
What's the pre-meet speech? Do you have it ready yet?
No.
Okay. Are you someone that comes up like do you think ahead, or do you kind of like have the moment? How do you do that as a coach? What's your strategy?
You know, I like to be prepared.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have little snippets in my head, but then usually it goes out the window when I get there. And, I just start speaking from the heart. Yeah. So,
those are the best kind of speeches.
Yeah.
Those are the best kind of speeches.
Yeah, we've worked really hard. Let's have some fun and do what we know how to do.
Is that the key this season? Have a little fun?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's key.
What else is on your mind as a staff?
Staff, I think it's just keeping our emotions in check, reminding the team that they're really good and all we have to do is just mentally stay checked in and keep working hard together.
It's a mental fortitude, your sport. I mean, we see the physical display, right? But just I'm always amazed at the coordination. I'm amazed at just the mental toughness of how to take that next step forward. I mean, I know all athletics are mentally challenging as well, but I don't know. It sticks out to me. I don't know how much you think about that as a coach, just the mental aspect. Maybe that's the question. How much do you think about it? How much is that part of your strategy?
All the time.
Really?
Constantly. In the shower, eating dinner, at the office. Yeah. How can I make it better?
Makes sense.
That's what it is.
Taylor Susnara, Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach. Season begins on Saturday.
Woo!
Ducks will be at home for a few weeks. A few chances at Matthew Knight Arena to come out and support Oregon Acrobatics and Tumbling. 4 o'clock, Morgan State, the opener on Saturday. Coach, thank you.
Thank you.
Best of luck all season.
Thank you.
An exciting weekend. Our thanks to Taylor Susnara. Our coaches' interviews brought to you by Willamette Valley Cancer Institute and Research Center. Better cancer care close to home. We got another coach when we come back. Oregon men's basketball assistant coach Josh Jamieson joins the program as the Ducks get ready for Rutgers on Sunday. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Ma, is this how you feed a hamster?
I think so.
Is my homework right?
I think so.
Is this milk still good?
I think so.
When it comes to parenting, sometimes it's okay to think you know. But when it's something as important as your child's car seat, don't just think. Know. Double check if your child is in the right seat for their age and size. It'll help protect them in a car crash. Don't just think. Know by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, just a little score update for you. Oregon softball playing right now against Weber State. It's 8-1 through 3 innings, so That's good, right? That game being broadcast right now on KWVA, the student radio station of the University of Oregon, if you want to tune in for that one live. As promised, let's go to the conversation with Oregon men's basketball assistant coach Josh Jamieson as he sat down with Joey Mack.
All right, we're going to start with a welcome. Josh Jamieson here in the Country Financial Studio. Now, Josh has been on the program before, but he was last on the program before we adopted a new tradition that I did not warn you about. Okay. So bear with us. Josh Jamieson, assistant coach, you have to tell your 2-minute life story.
Oh, wow.
Now, we're competitive. If you can see through the lights, there's a leaderboard over there.
Okay.
And I will shout out to Jackson Shellstad, who did it in a minute 58 flat.
Minute 58, that is pretty good.
So as close to 2 minutes as you can possibly get. We'd love to put a Josh Jamieson on the whiteboard over there.
Is there going to be a horn that goes off at the end, or you're just going to let me go until
you say done? There's no shot clock that'll buzz, but we've got a timer for you.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Now, I should say, though, because if Brandon watches this, he'll want me to say this. Brandon Angel did it officially in 2 minutes, 0.73 seconds. But Brandon was smart enough to say, so I'm just going to get my phone out and press go and time it myself. So we put an asterisk next to
Wait, what do you mean? So he put himself on it, so he just but he had to be done with the life story right at about 2 minutes?
Yeah, so the goal is as close to 2 minutes
as possible.
That is
such a Stanford thing to do right
That's
there.
That's what I said.
That is such a Stanford thing to do.
So he just goes, okay, well, I'm going to go, and then he was watching as he did it.
Well, if you've ever watched Brandon work out or, basically do anything, you'll realize that there is such a black and white one way to do it that I could see how he probably just got very anxious thinking if I don't do this in 2 minutes, then I somehow will have let down, myself and family, which is not exactly the way. I don't share that same attention to whatever that is.
So
but I do feel a competitive juice kind of flowing here, but I have absolutely, no idea how I'm gonna. That's pretty good. Minute 58 for Jackson with no clock. Do I see a minute 59:56 for someone over there?
Yes, a minute 59:56, famously by Dave Butler, former Oregon volleyball assistant coach and Beach head coach. Now, I should tell you, Josh, we were doing that interview on Zoom.
Okay.
And he swears.
This is a really asterisk-laden situation.
Exactly.
Because if you're on Zoom and there's a chance you've got the, computer clock up in the corner and it happens to switch right, I'm having a harder time with that one.
Now, Dave, every time this comes up on social media, he still chimes back in and says, no, it was really.
Well, okay.
He has died on that hill.
I am a firm believer that if you tell a story one time, you might as well stick to it.
There you go.
Dave, congratulations.
So then, the 2-minute life story of one Josh Jamieson, go.
Wow. Okay. Born in Rochester, New York, so maybe in some way or another the Big Ten was the right place. We've got some East Coast ties, but no, grew up in Southern Oregon in Medford. Was fortunate enough, went to South Medford High School, got into athletics at that time. And from there, I just continued to really have a passion for it. So I got my start in basketball. I was not a gifted athlete, so instead went the route of trying to be however I could be on the court, and tried to play and did a little bit of it here or there, and then got into coaching relatively quickly. Went to Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon, which was a really good experience. And at that same time, I coached for 4 years at South Medford High School, coaching the freshman basketball team and then assisting with the JV and varsity. And when I got done there, 4 years, got my undergrad at Southern Oregon and had an opportunity to come here and pursue an MBA, and at the same time work for Ernie Kent. Mm-hmm. So I began coaching basketball with Ernie in 2000. So that's why I say now is my 25th year here at Oregon, or in basketball, in college basketball. And from there, 3 years, great success. Luke, and Freddie, and an original Elite Eight.
They're up on the wall above you.
So am I on that poster.
It's a good poster.
So did that. Had a good experience. Then went to University of Portland. Spent 2 years on staff for Michael Holton. Not as good of an experience, but all part of the fabric of developing as, a coach and a person. Left there, went back to Medford, was an assistant basketball coach for a couple of years at South Medford, and then came back to Oregon, was called by Ernie again to come back as director of basketball operations and helped the program there, and was there for the next 15 years, sounds about right, and had an opportunity to join Kenny Payne at University of Louisville, and spent a couple of years there. In 2018, got married. In 2023, had a child, and that stuff has all been part of the fabric of things, and now find myself back here and ready to go. How close?
239.09.
Yeah, I have a tendency to go long.
No, that was good. So here's the thing, though, Josh. I told Jackson this. When he did it in a minute 58, I was like, Jackson, that's tough for like an 18 to 20-year-old, right, to get 2 minutes worth. But then when you ask somebody who's had so many more life experiences, it starts to fill up
Isn't
quickly.
is that just a nice way of saying, God, when you get somebody old on here, 239 seems about right.
The 2-minute life story, though, I'll tell you, it was funny. So Mike Parker, my counterpart from Oregon State, he did it in 201.42. And I was like, Mike, how did you get your life into that 2-minute capsule? And
it really is funny because I didn't feel like I thought I would be under. I thought it would be a little bit quicker.
You were efficient.
Okay.
You were efficient.
I tried. I managed to get Amy and Brady in there. That was going to be
good
really
work.
important to do. One way or another, I was going to have to answer to that. If
you did it.
Those are the most important things. So.
You did it. Well, you have seen so much around Oregon athletics and the growth, been a big part of Oregon basketball. Like, if I ask you now, like, if I told Josh Jamieson the day one he got to the University of Oregon that you would be doing this now and you've seen everything you've seen in 25 years, what would you say to that person?
Oh, boy, that's a great question, Joey. One of the things would have been I went through a lot of pinch-me moments here because, I grew up in Medford, but I hadn't spent a ton of time around here. Once a year, my dad and I would come up to a football game, but I had seen one Division I basketball game before I joined the staff here in person. Yeah, I had watched UCLA and Oregon. One time my brother was in school here and came up for a game. So from that perspective, everything was, new and fresh and really exciting then. And, I don't think I'm not sure when you're young you ever do envision 25 years later, a quarter of a century. At the time that I came here, I was 22 years old. So I hadn't lived 25 years. So it wasn't going to be as though, I'd really have a perspective from that standpoint. But, no, it's undergone an unbelievable change. Athletics as a whole, college athletics, professional athletics, everything has changed so much in that 25-year span. It's been really, really rewarding to be part of that arc. So, and of course, Oregon has gone from a place, I don't want to make it seem as though Oregon wasn't relevant then, but it's certainly not on the way it is in today's landscape.
There's certainly been a golden era, right?
Absolutely.
It's amazing.
I feel very lucky because I think I've been there for just about the whole era.
Yeah. How much has the game itself changed at the college level? Maybe what have been the biggest changes you've observed in college basketball?
Well, I think that in basketball in general, the three-point shot, has changed so much. Yeah. There's a bunch of crazy statistics, some of which I'll butcher, but just, people that grew up, like, and went through high school when I did and college when I did, we were still at the kind of the tail end of the Larry Bird era and Larry Bird and Magic and the emergence of Michael Jordan. And at that time, everyone thought, oh my gosh, Larry Bird's like the greatest three-point shooter. And there's crazy numbers out there now, like Peyton, who went to school here, I think is only like it's a wild number how far he is from breaking Larry Bird's 3-point record with the Celtics. And it's not the Celtics record by any mean at this point, but what I'm saying is they're now shooting them at such a greater frequency, and it's happening here in college too, where the game has gone almost positionless, much like it has in the NBA, and where so much more is being put on, skill level than it is traditional positions. And, we've just watched that. And then, what we alluded to a little bit before is then you went from the unpaid era
right.
to the NIL era.
Right.
And that, of course, is a change that no one really foresaw to the degree.
It's still changing.
And it is. I mean, we sat in a compliance meeting half an hour ago talking about the fact that they're still trying to determine, from a legal perspective, what all of this is going to mean. And if you base it on, relatively recent history, it could see 2 or 3 iterations in, the next 2 or 3 years.
That's part 1 of the conversation with Josh Jamieson, and we'll have part 2 when we come back from a break. Love hearing his perspective. He's been in basketball a long time, been in Oregon for a really long time, so he's got some great perspective. Part 2 of the conversation with him next. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 25 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and 4-wheel drive. And that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places. Based on manufacturer's websites as of 10/20/24.
Back to the Country Financial Studios in 60 seconds. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive high.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back in the Country Financial Studio as Duck Insider rolls on. Let's go right into it. Part 2 of the conversation, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach Josh Jamieson sitting down with Joey Mack.
All right, we're going to start with a welcome. Josh Jamieson here. You got to
the
still be having fun. I see you all on the coaching staff. Everybody, most of you have worked together, Josh, for so long. I mean, what's that dynamic like?
We have. It's great. I mean, let me be clear. Like, if you're not enjoying this, I don't understand doing it. I know the need to be employed and things like that. But
pay the bills.
Yeah, and all of that is great, but I don't really think that if you didn't enjoy this, that this would be that great of a way to pay the bills. Because it is a lot of stress and pressure and a lot of demands upon time. But boy, being able to have an impact on the lives of these student athletes and engage with them on a regular basis in watching them try to fulfill their hopes and dreams, I mean, what could be more rewarding? I can't think of anything else that I would find to be that.
To that point, it's on my mind. You mentioned Peyton, and then Tawan Porter sat with me for the broadcast at Michigan State, which was really fun to catch up with him. You'll love this. I don't think I told you this off the air, Josh, but it was after a corner three, and I just looked at Tawan. I said, Tawan, how many corner threes did you make in your career? And he just looked at me, well, a lot.
Yeah. Oh, no, there certainly. And remember, as time goes by, he made more and more.
More and more. Yeah. One of the best three-point shooters in the history of the Pac-10 at the time.
Really was, and he was a little bit ahead in the sense that he could shoot really from anywhere inside the building.
Right.
And while that's become much more common now, he was shooting threes that you just did not see being shot on a regular basis. Yeah. And it was great to have him. He came to both games at Michigan and Michigan State. And it's funny because he's now coaching at Renaissance High School, which is where he went back in Michigan. And it's just fun to now listen to him kind of bemoan some of the behaviors of young people and not understanding and not getting that, what he's trying to have them focus on. And I just chuckle because, Tawan was a great young man, but was not the easiest at times to get through to either.
And now he'd say that,
and
I'm
now
sure.
He'll admit to it now, but it was a lot more difficult.
How rewarding is that for you, though, Josh? I mean, you're one of the connections to those pro Ducks and the grads that, and now back to campus. How rewarding is that for you?
It really is special. I mean, a week doesn't go by that I don't talk to 2 or 3, former players, and it's not just the ones that had great success here either. It's some of the student athletes that took a little bit more time and maybe didn't value the experience as much. But it's a wide range. But again, I had the opportunity to coach the TBT team a few years back, which was again really enjoyable to get back there and get to spend some time with those guys. And it is neat. I mean, I watched I spoke to Malik Hairston when we were back. He's recently welcomed a baby girl into the world, so that's neat to hear about. Marty Lunen's over in Bend. He's coaching over there. Mitch Platt comes to a lot of our stuff when we're in Las Vegas. I talked to Fred Jones on a weekly basis. He's a dear friend. He's in Vegas too. And then you have some of the ones that are, more recent and throughout the time. And, we've talked about, Dylan and Peyton and Chris Boucher. Jordan Bell was down in Southern California when we were down there. He brought his mom to the game, and it was just really nice to see Caroline and all. Everything about being part of a great big, what I would call, a blended family is part of what makes this special. Yeah. So.
And the list goes on and on.
My gosh. I mean, I could go through and through. And we are going to do some more things, going forward in next year and here in the future where we want to bring back more of our former student athletes. One thing when we were at Michigan State this past weekend that we saw was they were doing their alumni weekend. And it really is just neat to get everyone back. And, you want to meet these kids, and it's a little scary when you have guys that played for you whose kids are now recruitable. And, but it's a part of it.
Yeah. Love it. Josh Jamieson, Oregon men's basketball assistant coach. The full conversation, about 20 minutes between him and Joey Mack. It's available on the Oregon men's basketball X account. So you can take that one in. A really fun conversation with him. Our thanks to him for coming into studio to talk to us. One final break. We'll wrap up the show in a busy Duck sports weekend. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, at Country Financial, they make insurance easy. Whether you're shopping for home, auto, or more, their representatives will take the time to understand your specific needs and explain what options work best for you. Worry less and feel more confident knowing you're covered. Visit countryfinancial.com to get started today. Experience more with Country Financial. Auto and home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Preferred Insurance Company, and Country Casualty Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you. On the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Duck Insider continues from the Country Financial Studios in 1 minute on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
This is your captain. We are going to be experiencing some slight turbulence. Please fasten your... Oh, hold on. Just got a video of my cat.
Imagine the pilot of an airplane was as confident as you are texting and driving. Seems kind of crazy when you put it like that.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
Heather and I had an argument just like any other couple. I was lost. I had snapped. I had a gun and I was going to take my own life. Heather helped me realize that there was still a life to live for the better of myself, my family. My weapon is now safely put away.
A moment of crisis can happen to anyone. Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
I'm coming home to the place that I remember. Back to the land of my first love.
Happy Friday, back inside our Country Financial Studio. This is Duck Insider, wrapping things up here. It is an insanely busy weekend, but a great weekend to be a Duck fan. Look, I get it. It's freezing outside. It's cold, but hey, it's baseball season now, and the first pitch, 3:05 p.m. So if you can get out there, stay warm, get yourself some concessions, and maybe bring some hot chocolate, and check it out. The Ducks taking on the Toledo Rockets. It's going to be a really fun year to be a Ducks baseball fan. There's high expectations, a ton of talent on this team that's coming off a super regional appearance from last year. Joey Mack and Ryan Milano will be on the call here on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield as they'll start their pregame show at 2:45 p.m. And this weekend, we've talked about it all show, but there's a lot going on. Saturday, baseball and lacrosse are going to be playing simultaneously, PK Park and Pape Field. You can check them both out. As we've talked about on this program, parking's free over there, so you get the chance to watch lacrosse play Columbia and Ducks baseball in action against Toledo. Acro and Tumbling's at Matthew Knight Arena Saturday at 4. Sunday, Oregon women's basketball on the road, noon at Minnesota. Men's basketball is here against Rutgers at 4 p.m. So many opportunities to take in the Ducks. Thanks for tuning in to what's been a fun week and a fun weekend ahead. Our director, Scott Phillips, I'm Chris Clayton. Have a great weekend. Stay warm.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you